Okay, we have this particular inequality in front of us. We have been given 4x squared divided by open bracket 1 minus the square root of 1 plus 2x close bracket squared, where we are squaring the denominator, and this is less than 2x plus 9. When present a solution to this particular inequality in a step-by-step fashion, in the solution, we attempt to solve for x in a step-by-step fashion, and we shall show that in the next couple of steps as follows. Right, we want to actually present a solution to this particular problem. And to present a solution to this particular problem, we take note of a couple of things, but we take note of the fact that in the denominator, we do not want the denominator to be equal to 0. But also, we look at square roots and make sure that square roots themselves have to be defined, have to be real. And so, first things first, we note that we have 2x or 1 plus 2x in the denominator, and we therefore have to write down a couple of restrictions. One of the restrictions here must be that x cannot be 0. Why? Because if ever x equals 0 in the denominator, you would have that 1 plus 0 appears under the square root, and 1 minus 1 becomes 0, and we will have division by 0. And so we have a restriction, and the restriction is therefore that x cannot be 0. Moreover, under the square root sign, we have 1 plus 2x that is greater or equal to 0. And we want to ensure that whatever is under the square root itself is basically something that is greater or equal to 0, because the square roots are defined for that. Okay, so, and therefore what does this mean? So if you have 1 plus 2x is greater or equal to 0, we have 1 plus 2x is greater or equal to 0, and this means that 2x, okay, is greater or equal to minus 1. And how do we solve this? To solve this, we multiply the left by 1/2, but whatever we've done on the left must be done on the right, because so this is an inequality, and this means therefore x is greater or equal to minus 1/2. So we have two restrictions. What are the restrictions? Right, so the restrictions are as follows. Right, so these are the restrictions. What are the restrictions? The restrictions are x is not 0, together with x is greater or equal to minus 1/2. These are the restrictions, and we're excited to have this problem in front of us. We proceed to solve this right now, and to solve this here, we take note of the problem itself that has been given to us. And we tackle these part by part, but also step by step, to show our mathematical prowess and also our ability to solve mathematical problems methodically. Okay, so what have we been given? We need to remember that the examiner gave us 4x squared, and this is divided by 1 minus the square root, okay, of 1 plus 2x, close bracket, squared, and this is less than twice x plus what? Plus 9. Okay, right, we take note of the fact that the numerator can be written as just 2x, and we proceed to divide by the denominator, 1 minus the square root of 1 plus 2x. And what we do is we square like this. And this is less than 2x plus 9. Okay, we are showing that the left-hand side can be written as what? The left-hand side of the inequality can be written as a perfect square. Okay, now, if the left-hand side can be written as a perfect square, we proceed to analyze this more. And we say we have twice x divided by 1 minus the square root of 1 plus twice x. And we multiply by 1 plus the square root of 1 plus twice x. And we divide by 1 plus the square root of 1 plus twice x. And we square the left, and everything is, or the left-hand side is less than 2x plus 9. Now, at this point, what do we have here? So which means that we have 2x into 1 plus the square root of 1 plus 2x. And we close like this. And the denominator has 1 times 1, which is 1 minus the square root of 1 plus 2x times the square root of 1 plus 2x is 1 plus 2x. And we square this, which is less than 2x plus 9. Okay, so now we have 2x in the numerator. We have 2x, open bracket, 1 plus the square root of 1 plus 2x. In the denominator, we have 1 minus 1 minus 2x. And it's squared, all squared, less than 2x plus 9. Okay, so we apply distribution in the denominator, getting minus 1 minus 2x. 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So that we have 2x, 1 plus the square root of 1 plus 2x. 1 minus 1 is 0, and we have minus 2x. 2x plus 9. So now, what do we do now? We realize that the cancellation law applies to this because 2x cancels. And we then have minus. We then have a minus. So in other words, we have minus into 1 plus the square root of 1 plus 2x. And we close like this squared, which is less than 2x plus 9. And we square this 1 plus the square root of 1 plus 2x squared. And this is less than 2x plus 9. Okay, we square there, we perform the square. And evaluate the square on the left side of the equation. Getting 1 plus 2 times the square root of 1 plus 2x plus, okay, so let us evaluate this here. Take into account the fact that we must write clearly. Right, so we have the left, and we are trying to make sure that we square properly. Right, so now we then have 1 plus 2x less than 2x plus 9. All right, so now at this point we have 1 plus 1, which is a 2. But also clearly we can cross out the 2x and 2x because it appears on both sides of the inequality. And so now what do we have? If we have 1 plus 1, which is 2, and therefore it is 9 minus 2, which is 7. So what do we have? You have 2, the square root of 1 plus 2x is less than 7. And now we can proceed at this point. We proceed because 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 9 minus 2 is a 7. So at this point, we take 1/2 when we multiply the left by 1/2, but also we're going to multiply the right. Right, multiply the right by 1/2. So 1/2 times 2 gives us a 1, so that you have 1 plus 2x over 2. Okay, now, okay, this square root here must be greater or equal to 0. So that you have 1 plus 2x, which is less than 7 over 2. So in the end, this is what we have. Okay, the square root, the definition is to be greater or equal to 0. Okay, we proceed now to evaluate and solve for x given this here. And to solve for x at this pointer, we square. We square the left, and we have 1 plus 2x. We square the middle, and we square the right, which is 1 plus 2x is less than 49/4. Okay, so which is 0 is less or equal to 2x is less than 49/4, which is you subtract 1 from each side of this. Subtract 1 from each side, getting a -1 is less or equal to 2x, and we have a 4 and 4 here, and this becomes a 45/4. Right, when you get to this pointer, the couple of things that remain very important is to multiply by 1/2. Multiplying the left, you take 1/2, and you multiply 2x by 1/2. But also, you take 1/2 and you multiply 45/4, like so. So we multiplied each of these by 1/2, getting minus 1/2 on the left is less than or equal to, okay, here we get an x in the middle. And this is what? It's exactly 45/8. Like this. Okay. And so we have solved this particular problem, and this is the answer we got. But recall that. You recall the restrictions. So this is sort of what we got, but we have the restrictions. This answer must also be compliant, must also satisfy the restrictions. And namely, we said x is not 0, but also x is greater or equal to minus 1/2. So this agrees that x is greater or equal to minus 1/2. But when we're here, we must say that x is not 0. So which means that the solution is going to be x minus 1/2 less or equal to x less than 45/8 together with x not equal to 0, because between the negative 1/2 and the positive 45/8, there is a 0, okay? So between every negative number and a positive number, there is 0. So we must state that x is not 0. Okay, now a couple of things are at the heart of the operation, so we need to analyze this. But what we do, we need to state up front that if you have minus 1/2 x, 45/8, 45/8, 45/8, okay, so that's what we write down here. X not 0, okay, we can write the solution like this, or we can write the solution as a minus 1/2 less than minus 1/2 less or equal to x less than 0, together with 0 less than x less than 45/8. So in other words, we have a couple of ways, okay, to present our solution. So you can write the solution like this, in two parts like this, or we can write the solution like that with the restriction there. Okay, so we are excited because so this here is the answer to the problem. So you can write the answer like this or the answer like that. We have solved this particular problem in a step-by-step fashion. Thanks everybody for joining us, and a very, very goodbye to you.